says we're in the hot spot for seeing baby wildlife.
Yes, exactly. Spring and early summer is the time when you've got young wildlife all over the landscape. And last week, this release specifically focused on deer and elk, because right now there are lots of fawns and calves running around out there. And it's just important for people to be aware of that and know what to do and what not to do when they come across a fawn or a calf.
Yeah, and can you just speak on what should you do?
Sure, absolutely. If you find a fawn, usually it's fawns, sometimes elk calves, but more commonly it's deer fawns that people come across in their backyard or even when they're out hiking or recreating. Um, if you come across a fawn, the best thing to do is leave it right where you found it. Does will tuck their fawns away while they go forage for food. This helps the fawn stay hidden from predators. And the mom could be gone for quite some time, but they will come back for their fawn. And deer do not abandon their fawns. That really doesn't happen. So it is really important to leave the fawn where you found it so that when mom comes back, and she's all fueled up from foraging for a while, she can find her fawn.
Great. And what if you think the fawn's hurt, or maybe it is hurt? Should you still not interfere?
So this is one, it can be hard in those situations. Generally, if unless you know for sure that the fawn is orphaned, like if you have seen that the doe has died, um, if you're unsure, leave it where it is. If it's somewhere that you come back to, if it's your backyard, you can observe it for a little bit. But if you know for a fact that it is orphaned or really injured, and you want to do something, you can call a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, or ODFW or Oregon State Police. But in the majority of situations, leaving it right where you found it is going to give the fawn the best chance of survival. Because one thing to consider is even if a fawn does go to a wildlife rehabilitator, successfully returning wildlife to the wild is not always possible, and options for long-term placement at wildlife rehabs or zoos can be really limited. So, and with deer and other animals, the more they grow, as they grow into adults, they get big and they can be dangerous towards people. So that's something else to consider in the long-term care aspect. So really just leaving it where it is the best thing you can do to give it the best chance of survival.
Okay, great. And how about could this be said for all wildlife animals? I know we're
Yeah,
specifically talking about fawn, but could we broaden it out to pretty much any little cute baby animal we see?
yeah, definitely. You can. All young wildlife, we encourage people to really leave wildlife wild. That is the goal, to give them the best chance to survive in their natural environment. That's where they're going to learn the necessary skills to survive, and do what they were made to do, live in the wild. So whether it is a young bird, a fawn, or something else, the best thing you can do is leave it alone. And again, there is an option to call a wildlife rehabilitator or ODFW or OSP, but just taking that first step to assess, do I need to do that, or can I give this animal the best chance by just leaving it where it is?
Definitely. Great. How about, the most common thing nowadays is taking pictures of the cute little baby wildlife animal we see. Are there any tips or advice or pointers you would like to tell folks, if they're on that hike and they see it? Is there a good distance? Is a flash an issue?
Yeah, really, that's always exciting to come across wildlife on a hike or just when you're out and about doing things, and it's very fun to get a picture. But I would just encourage people to keep a respectful distance and to kind of judge that. I like to say, if that animal is disturbed by your presence, if they kind of react to you being there, then you're probably too close. And sometimes that's going to happen, but just be aware of the impact that you're having on that animal. And if they get up to move, or start looking really stressed out, you're probably much too close. So use the zoom on your phone. Don't get too close. Just respect wildlife and give them their space, but still enjoy the moment and snap that picture if you can from a respectful distance.
Great, yeah. And is there anything you can comment on? we always talk about how 4th of July is coming up, and we always talk about how dogs or even house animals might have an issue with, the noise or the fire, whatever it is. I know in Eugene specifically, it's not allowed, but is there anything you can tell me if, does the noise affect them? If we're trying to advise people, hey, don't light those fireworks in places you're not supposed to, would that have an effect on wildlife at all? If like, are they disturbed if somebody is going to light that firework in a place they're not supposed to, pretty much?